Hello everybody and welcome to the T&M podcast with me, Tom.
And me, Mark.
Today we're going to be talking about gaming expos. This is where we normally hand over to our resident informant, Steve Gugal, but basically we wanted a break from Steve Gugal, so...
Sick of him.
Easter time, we sent
him and his cousin.
We sent him on an Easter egg hunt, didn't we? He's now currently going around the M25, somewhere between junction 20 and 21, I think.
It was a big map.
It was a massive map. He should be back maybe in a week, maybe a couple of weeks' time. Hopefully he'll find his way back. We didn't actually leave a trail home, actually. That's a bad
No. We'll see if anyone actually mentions him ever
If
again.
you see Steve Gugal out there, let us know. Send pictures to us on the Twitter.
Yeah. I've completely forgotten his cousin's name, who came in last week.
I don't think he's relevant. I don't think we're ever going to see him again.
That Russian guy.
Again, no.
That Russian guy.
Unless we go to an expo, gaming expo in Russia.
You never know.
He may turn up somewhere, but I very much doubt he's...
Well, there's your segue anyway. Onto what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, and what are we going to talk about today, Mark?
Gaming expos, of which we've been to many. It's something that I've always loved doing. Every year I've done so many with Jamie, and a few with yourself, and so there's a lot to talk about. So
we've been to a few different ones over the last sort of 6-7 years even. What was the first gaming expo you can remember going to?
It's a very good question. I think it was EGX, and I'm pretty sure it was when it was in Earl's Court.
Yeah, that's the same for me, yeah.
I'm sure that was all of us together as well.
Was that our first expos together?
But I also, in the same year, I went to...
Definitely remember that Burger King.
Geek
sitting
as
at
well.
Burger King for that expo.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The moment of food is always the bit to remember.
It's the bit you remember. But you went to Geek Expo that
year.
year.
That was in Margate. I don't know if you ever went to that.
No, I don't think I did.
So that was... I don't even know if it's on anymore. I have to double check. But it was every February in Margate. And there was this funny little... like a beachfront building that went down underground. It's bizarre. It was great. It was really, really odd, and I think that may have been our first one. Right. If I'm being completely honest, because it was kind of London based, but EGX was
It's a big one. I mean, EGX is for most people. EGX in terms of like in England. EGX is the big one. I mean, it was in Earl's Court, like you said, when we first went. It was huge in Earl's Court in London. I remember the first time we went, they had a World of Tanks display on out front, and there was literally like tanks outside Earl's Court, and people sitting and standing on these tanks. And I remember the first time thinking, "Wow, this is something cool." Yeah. And being blown away by everything that was inside. But then it moved up to... EGX moved to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And did you ever get up to Birmingham?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Every year.
Did you go every year?
Yeah.
Did you go... You didn't go the year I went, though.
Yeah, I went every year.
Did I go
to Birmingham? I went every year. Yeah.
I went last year. Last year I was in Birmingham.
Last year wasn't in Birmingham.
It was.
I thought last year was in London.
No, this year is the first year it's come back to London. Liar. Caught out on the podcast live in your ears, Mark.
Oh my god! Wait, last year?
Yeah, I went all 3 days last year, all 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to go to EGX in Birmingham last year, and luckily I did, because that was the only time I would experience it, because then it's moving now back to London, to the Excel Centre.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
Which is where the confusion may have lied, where you thought it had moved already, but unless you've been doing some time travelling.
Was it 2018 was in Birmingham? Oh my god, I can cut this out. But
No, don't cut it out. Come on, it's great. You're just getting old and you're losing your marbles a bit. It's fine.
Oh my god, I'm sure I was there last year.
I don't think you were. I really don't think you were. I'd lose a lot of money on it if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think you were. No. But anyway, it's part of the part. We've both been to EGX.
I think if I went last year, I completely dodged you.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have been hard because I was incredibly drunk for most of EGX last year. Those of you that are listening that were there, and
brilliant!
It was a pleasure to meet so many cool people, like it is at all these events. I mean, that's something we'll go on to. We should probably say we're on to now is what these events are about. They're not just about going and seeing the games.
No.
They are probably for the first, the first expos that we've been to, that was what it was about. And then I think as you, as sort of like you've grown as your channel on YouTube, for me personally growing my community on Twitch, it's now become more of a social event, going to these things and meeting people. And a lot of the time now I try and spread out and go across multiple days, so I can dedicate a day to seeing the games, a day to socialising, and another day to getting drunk. That's how I normally spread it out across the 3.
Well, it's funny, isn't it though, because you wouldn't think to organise to meet people unless it was a gaming expo. A lot of these people that you would see at a gaming expo, you wouldn't, unless there is some kind of event. A lot of these people, you'll never see them. I think that's what I find quite funny.
I think it's because for a lot of, like we've spoken about before, it's gaming brings people together from the distance, doesn't matter. So you have people, for instance, EGX last year in Birmingham, which was definitely in Birmingham. I got to meet.
It was in London.
I got to meet fellow streamer, Reverse Pro Gamer Dougie, who flew down from Scotland. And he's not obviously going to come down for a Saturday meetup, but for an event, people will come down from Scotland. They'll travel from around the country to make a whole weekend of it. Which is why I think these events are so cool, because they're scattered throughout the year. But it's nice being able to finally catch up with people and meet people for the first time. We were saying off air. Just before we started recording, at this Res, for example, on the second day when I was there, that day was a really big mingling social day, and it was strange having people come up to you and say, "Oh, you're Tom Marrett, it's nice to meet you," and you kind of had that sort of 20-30 seconds of I don't know who you are, and then that person will then say their internet sort of handle of their, what they go under on the internet, and you realise, oh my god, I chat to you pretty much every day on the streams or whatever. It's that's another thing that's sort of changed. The last few expos has been something to try and sort of get used to, and but in a really, really nice way, because it is one thing to meet people through the content creation side of things, but then to actually sit there, have a drink with them and see what these people are like face to face, is lovely. It's really, really, I don't know what experiences you've had of that.
Tons of it. I don't know if you want to, did you want to talk about Res now, and then we can move on to sort of, because I've got so many stories of the other expos we've been to.
Okay,
we'll just thinking while we're on the subject of Res, we'll just kind of talk about that and what we thought about Res this year especially.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I only did a day this year. I kind of, generally that's what I'll do anyway.
You normally come.
It's normally a day I'll do.
The weekend. Last year, it was on a Sunday we went.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they opened it on the Sunday, and we went on the Sunday, didn't we, last year?
Yeah.
And then this year, you came on the Saturday.
Yes. Yeah. So I found Res quite a nice opportunity to bring my youngest son along, and I think it's a really nice thing for him to come along to and play some different games other than blooming Fortnite or do you know what I mean? So it's quite nice seeing him playing like these random 4-player local games and what have you, that he actually has loads of fun playing. Well,
especially at Res, because you get a lot of like, I don't want to say smaller, but it's sort of indie games, less money, less money going into these games. That people are really, really passionate about getting their ideas and projects off the ground. So you do find some real gems and some real random games as well. Yeah. But what was Charlie? What do you reckon the best sort of like 4-player one we played was?
Well, the one he keeps asking me when it's coming out is that Heave Ho.
Oh, that was funny.
Where you dangle and you swing from platforms and stuff trying to get to the goal.
Yeah.
But that's such a simple premise.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it hasn't been done before almost. It's like, it's crazy.
That's the ones that always, I find are always the best, is when it's just sort of a simple concept. So for those of you that don't know, you can play up to 4 people on that, and you've got to get to a specific point, but there's no floor, and you have to swing, holding each of you holding on to each other basically. And it's all about cooperative work between each other, who holds on, who lets go, who swings at the right time. And we played it, didn't we? And it was hilarious trying to get everyone to navigate at the same time.
And it's funny how you can not be cooperative. Like you can you can be completely non-team based, and you can just swing yourself over to the goal and then sit there and go, hurry up you lot. It's brilliant. But yes, that's one that stood out, no doubt. I mean, there was tons of games there, and what I love about Res is it is indie. It's not your AAA titles generally. There's a couple of kind of bigger games, but nothing compared to EGX. So it's such a nice thing to see, and especially when you go in the left field section, which has always been at EGX, and it's quite nice that they had this kind of spin-off to Res. That left field section's always bonkers. It's mental. And there's people that it's like a one-man band in their front room they've just made, or their bedroom, sorry, and they've just made this random game that is completely out there. You've never seen anything like it. You're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, there were some bizarre ones.
Yeah, very, very bizarre.
We watched a woman using a kid, like sort of like a kid's toy as a controller, and she was just driving this little car down the M1. And it's just like, and then she'd pull over, and there was a bit of paper on the desk, and she'd take a sticker and stick it on the map, and we were like, this is crazy. But it's great to see those different types of games.
Love it. Yeah. So what was the other one we saw that was really weird? There was that one with the plants. That you had,
the plant pots
and a watering can
of teddy bear.
I have no idea. I literally I watched that for a couple of minutes. I had zero idea what the hell was going on. And I literally just like, this.
But the other good thing about that Res and about those types of games is you can actually talk to the people that make them.
Yeah.
So whereas you might get at the bigger expos, you would get the people who are there sort of promoting. At Res you find a lot more it's the people that are promoting are the people that actually made or worked on the games. I kind of was describing it to a friend of mine. They were saying, well, because I was saying to them about Res and then about EGX, and I kind of described it in terms they would understand of if you go to EGX, it's kind of like going to see a band that you like play at Wembley Stadium. You're like there, you're in the crowd, it's massive spectacle. Res is like watching the band that you like at a local pub, where you're like, you might not rub shoulders with them in the bar afterwards and that kind of thing. It's that kind of smaller scale but really, really intimate venue. That's why I think Res has such a good sort of like soft spot in people's hearts for regarding expos. They like to go there because the chances are you can talk to the people that are about the game.
And you might play the game that's the next big thing. Like it might be one of those indie games that takes off, like sort of a Super Meat Boy or one of those type of games that just ends up being huge. So you never know. It is a really nice thing about it. We went to one game which was an arcade football game on the Switch. I think I can't remember exactly what it was called, but got chatting to the developer. And I was like, "Oh, is this your game?" He's like, "Yeah. How long have you been working on it?" But I've always got roughly the same questions, which is quite funny. But I said, "Oh, when's it coming out?" Because my son was nagging me. He's like, "This game's great."
Double Kick Heroes?
No.
I've got the list of games.
It was a Switch game, and I said, "When's it coming out?" And he said, "Oh, not for a while." And I was like, "Oh, how long?" He's like, "About a year." It's like, what? Really? He was like, "Yeah, I've got so much to do on it." And it was like, that was just like a labour of love. Do you know what I mean? He's been working hard to get this available for the expo.
Just so people can have like a demo or have a glimpse at what is to come. And
it's not coming out for a year. And it was like, Charlie was like, "Oh, I want it now." But yeah, no, that's a massive part of Res. Yeah, definitely.
So we talked about indie stuff like that. There's also like shows and talks. There is shows. There's live viewing and streaming and stuff like that. That's incorporated into the expos as well. So there are other areas you can go if you're into game development or you want to hear developers talk about things.
Or you and your mates want to sit and listen to a sex show.
Yeah, that was a weird one. So for a bit of for a bit of context, a couple of my friends came along. They're not perverts, but they could be for all I know. A couple of my mates came along who aren't really, they're not really into gaming, but they wanted to see what it was all about and stuff. And on the Saturday we had a few drinks, and it was getting to the end of the day, and the last talk on the day was, I think it was Sex in Games? Yeah, Sex in Games. Yeah, so we decided to go in there and see that. You want to look it up there, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that was interesting, really, really interesting, and quite awkward as well towards some point.
Especially when I was banging on the window.
When you were there on the window with your youngest boy, and we were like, just cover his eyes because he should not be seeing this. It was a very interesting one. But that said, the point I was trying to make was it's not just about going and making and playing games. If you're interested in learning about the behind the scenes in gaming, the careers, how you can learn how to develop, make games, talking to designers you found it.
I found it.
Then you can go and do all these as well. And also these, it's worth noting, if you are interested in looking at what kind of these discussions and talking points are, it's on EGX's YouTube.
Yeah.
So you can see all of the developer sessions on there. Even now, you can go back and watch them all. Don't watch the one that we went to because.
So the one Tom and co went to was designing sex in games.
That's it.
Why do so few games attempt to address vital human experiences like intimacy or sex? I have no idea.
And I was in there for about an hour and I still have no idea.
No, I literally walked up to the window and looked at the screen and there was just this guy dry humping nothing. It was like this weird render of a bloke just dry humping.
I saw
like,
things.
What is going on?
I saw things in there I can't unsee now. When I close my eyes at night, images pop in there that I just don't want to ever see again.
That was so bizarre. But I think that point is really valid about the sessions, because if you are someone out there that wants to get into gaming or get into journalism or get into all these type of things around the games industry, there's so many different jobs in the games industry, and so many different avenues you can go down. These talks are really good because they can point you in the right directions, and they have like the career fair sections, don't they? I know they have that EGX, but I don't think
do.
Did they have that at Res as well? I didn't see it, but
they do.
So you can actually go and talk to these people, and
who actually have an insight in the industry and know. And little things, like they do the meet and greets with the Eurogame a lot. That was really fun. Like not so much this Res, but the one before. Got to meet a couple of the Eurogamer team, Johnny and Aoife and Ian at the Birmingham one, and even had a drink with them at the after party.
Clang.
No. Oh, my point was...
My mate Johnny.
My point was that these guys are all approachable, really nice people.
Yeah.
They'll go out of their way for those that are fans of their work to actually have a chat with them and talk to them, and you don't... You don't get that at many other events and stuff. This is an event where you can take an opportunity to do that, to actually go and speak to them about their viewpoints on the industry and how they get on and what they do and that kind of thing.
I think what I really like about Res is that it is so small, and I can guarantee every year I go to Res I will see the same people. It is like that. So I saw Dan Slope's game room again. I see him every year, without fail. Kim Justice, I see these same people every year. The game show is another one. The guys from the game show, we see them pretty much every year as well. But we've kind of fallen into now just walking around and we'll bump into the same people every single time without fail, which is awesome. I love it. I kind of, what I'd like to do is what you've done, where you'll spend a day just meeting up with people. We've never done that. We've kind of always gone head first into the games, and kind of
that side of things. Later this year, EGX, take a few days off work. Come with me to all 3 days. That's all you got to do. On that note, though, I just want to say a quick personal shout out to a few people. That's all right that I met there.
What?
Well, I'm going to do it anyway, so...
it's going to happen.
I know why I asked, really. But no, it was lovely to meet Carl from A Band of Gamers podcast, who are another great podcast
Another great one.
Self-proclaimed that we're great, but another great podcast. I've spoken to Carl for years and never met him face to face. It was lovely to meet him face to face, and then also met his co-host from another podcast he does called The Entertain Nerds. Met Kyle, and they actually interviewed us at the bar.
Oh right.
Yeah, I'd had a few whiskies at this
Few
point.
shandies,
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on, to be perfectly honest, but it was lovely to be on, asked to be on their Entertainers podcast, even in a drunken state.
Yeah,
So shout out to them, and just a few others really quickly. Wanted to say shout out to Will and Rob, Steve, and Gina. Go to every event that we go to.
Gotta love Will.
Oh, I've got to love Will. One of the nicest guys in the industry. Alex over at Warchild Gaming. That's a charity. Another
nice
thing
guy.
we haven't mentioned
nice
yet. Charity stuff is there.
Yeah.
Special Effect, Warchild Gaming. They're there doing spreading their
Really important.
spreading the word about their charities and that kind of thing, which is really well supported. And there are other people, from my community, West and Ibsy, Pete, who I haven't seen. Another friend of mine who, again, like you were saying about the Expo stuff, haven't seen Pete in years, and that was really, really nice that he came to this one. I spent the whole day with him, sort of just playing games and catching up. Jack West, another massive Jason, another really, really nice member of our community, never met before. Again, getting to meet for the first time. So I just wanted to quickly, and I'm sure I've forgotten people or missed people out, and I apologise if I have, but it was really lovely meeting everybody that we got to meet there. There's a long, long list.
I'm not shouting out to anyone.
I won't forget. I mean, Mark.
I'm not shouting out
Mark's
to anyone. Mark's
not going to shout out to anyone.
They know who they are.
You know who you are. I guess he likes you. I don't know.
I don't like many people.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't even like me. Just this is
marriage of
purely...
convenience.
This was an arranged marriage. So I just wanted to quickly just shout those people out, and I'll also give when we do a little bit of the community feedback later on. I'll shout out to my mates who came, which is fine. No, but sorry to go off on a tangent.
It's all right. It's fine. So I think we've kind of covered Res. We'd love to hear your views on Res, whether you enjoyed it, whether it's the right setup, the right place, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think it's actually pretty spot on. Yeah. I can't fault it. I can't really fault it. Apart from the food. Like the food's pretty shite.
The food this year.
And the bar's tiny as well.
Last year the food was really, really good. And I'm not gonna lie, sort of 10% of the reason why I went back was because I wanted the chicken burger and chips again.
Oh.
This year, just pizza. Just pizza. And it was like, oh great, I've queued 45 minutes to get a pizza. Yeah. And I don't even want this.
They've got so much opportunity there to have lots of food stalls. I don't get it.
Loads. And there's only one place to get coffee.
Don't get it.
Oh.
You think of when we went to play London, right? When we went to play Expo.
Yes.
In London.
Yes.
And they had the whole outside bit with all those different food stalls.
That was like its own area.
Yeah. And that worked. It worked really well. It wasn't cheap, but it worked because you could go and choose something.
It's not cheap when you're having 5. We ate a lot that day, didn't we?
We did eat a lot that day. But no, that was probably the only thing I can fault about Res. I think otherwise it's pretty spot on. Yeah. So get your catering sorted. Yeah. Jeez.
Do you want just
don't let us go. We're just going to end up going to McDonald's.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. No.
Right. So moving on.
Play Expo. You said we went to that.
Good example.
Another good Expo. That was it the first one in London last year?
I've been to Play Expo about 4 times. We went to Manchester once, right? And that was ball ache for us because it is a long old drive. Yeah. So I ended up driving 6 hours in one day, or 7 hours in one day, whatever it took. It was a long drive.
Yeah, you're not going to enjoy much.
So I didn't want to do that, right? We made the stupid decision to just go up there and do it one day. So that says a lot about us and our lack of planning. Yeah. But it was great, and that was actually quite early on. I think that was about 5 years ago. So it's quite a while ago, 5 or 6 years ago. One of the funniest things that happened there was someone tweeted, "I've just seen the Game Shed guys going in the toilet at Play Expo."
Oh god, that's the sort of publicity you want.
Yeah, and I saw it later, and they'd actually taken a photo of us going in the toilet. I was like, "What is going on? Oh my god!" But that was that was a fantastic event. Really enjoyed it. We met up with Andy from Funstock there, and it was sort of quite early days of us getting to know him as well.
Yeah.
So it was nice. We spent the day with him. We played loads of games, Micro Machines, and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. We went to play London last year, didn't we?
That's on. I came
was that
with
last
you.
year? Or
Yes,
before?
last year. I came with you to that one.
Yeah.
And that was really good because that's not. That one is more.
It's a lot of retro.
It's retro. There's a lot of arcade cabinets, pinball heavy as well.
Really, very pinball.
I mean, we spent probably more time playing pinball than we did anything in terms of gaming wise.
Yeah.
We played a bit of tabletop gaming as well there, didn't we? So that was a really fun one. I think I'd like to try and go back there.
Yeah,
depending on how work pans out. But I'd definitely. Well,
we could just do a day again. It's quite a nice one to just do a day.
I would agree. That one is kind of you can. Because again, it's a kind of smaller size, and it's there's no sort of real big developer talks and stuff like that. There, you can just go in the day and do everything you want to do. Massive, worth saying for anyone who's buying and selling retro games and stuff. That was huge. That market there they had for selling and buying things. I think. You managed to get your hands on a few bits.
Yeah, a couple of PlayStation controllers.
Yeah,
the clear ones.
Like limited, like ones that you would find hard to find kind of now. So yeah, really worth checking out Play Expo if you do live in the UK, Manchester, London.
Yeah, any of them. I think they're all pretty similar. Like they all have all the retro consoles set up, so you can go and play 4-player GoldenEye or. Go and play on an arcade cabinet from 1983 or whatever. So there's tons of good stuff to see there.
And it's worth noting with these, there's a question that came up asked to me, is that once you pay to get into these places, that's it. You pay for your ticket. There's no charges on top. It's not like it's not that you're paying to go in and then you've got to pay £1 every time you play a game. It's you pay your ticket of entry and then that's it. You might have to queue to get on a game, but that is it. You just get to play whatever you want to a degree for as long as you want. There's kind of an etiquette that you don't sit on it for hours and hours and hours.
Which does happen.
It had, we've seen it happen. That's when you have to sort of.
Excuse me, mate.
That was Gang Beasts for us.
Are you done yet? Yeah. Or you have to hover so close to them that they feel a bit uncomfortable and end up leaving. That happened with Gang Beasts. One thing on the money side of things.
Yes.
For those of you looking to take kids to Rezzed.
Oh, this is good to know.
For under 12s, go free, so you don't actually have to pay for them at all. I made the error of buying a ticket for Charlie. Who knew exactly? It didn't even say it very clearly on the website. But it is under 12s are free. So afterwards, I actually complained to them and got my money back.
Oh, did you?
So yeah, I was very happy. But yeah, so don't if you're taking kids, you don't need to buy a ticket. I just put that out there.
Which is good.
Which is fantastic. That's how it should be for all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Really, under 10s, under 11s, something around there would be perfect for all of these events.
Yeah.
But EGX, I don't think you could get away with it because the place would be packed.
Yeah, I don't think
it would be too busy.
You'd have to obviously look at each expo will be different.
Yeah.
But it's good to know for
But I think Play and Res would probably be perfect candidates for that.
For younger
just go along for free, yeah, exactly. Because it gets them into gaming. But yeah, I mean, what else have we been to? I don't know if you want to just talk about EGX. I mean, that's a massive one. We've kind of touched on it, but not really covered it.
Like I said, we've touched on it a little bit, but EGX is, like, for most people, the big one. That's the one that people will mainly try and go to because there you might see a big... that's where you get your big AAA titles. You might get to play something that's technically not out yet as a demo, that kind of thing. So then more spectacle based, like going back to that analogy before, that's where you're going to see all of the big AAAs with, like, showing off with big models and screens. There's competitions and there's cosplay events, so you get a lot more sort of cosplay heavy focus on that as well. You'll see lots of people going really full out.
Yeah, you don't really get that much at the others.
Not too much, no. You might see maybe one or two, but this one, you're talking like hundreds of people. Yeah, thousands of people.
Proper competition up on stage and everything.
Yeah,
I always find that quite funny to watch, these people with these massive costumes coming up on stage.
I just always think how you got there. You've had to travel by public or...
Well, we bumped into some at the hotel in Birmingham that we were at. We bumped into this couple who had clearly been dressing up that day, and they had massive bags full of all this stuff that they'd made, and these huge outfits, sort of carrying them in the lift and squeezing them into the lift. It was hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. Some of those outfits are just insane.
Oh, fair play. I mean, I remember my years at uni trying to do fancy dress, and I'm awful at fancy dress, let alone the level of detail that these people go to create this stuff.
Yeah.
So I take my hat off to
a lot of
to
respect
them.
has to go to them. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so for you then, is it EGX your, if you're saying one event you had to go to a year, would be EGX be the one for you?
I think so, yeah. We've done it every single year without fail for about the past, probably about 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
We've been to London, we've been to Birmingham, and then we're going back to London this year. And it's just, I don't know, we've kind of found it just so good in so many ways. There's a lot of crap stuff about EGX. There's a lot of stuff that really ends up pissing me off about EGX.
Like what?
I think the queues are the worst part of EGX.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you're talking about the Saturday and Sunday especially, the queues are horrendous. Just the worst thing ever. Thursday it's not too bad, but there's tricks to getting into these queues and stuff.
Right.
I'm not going to let my my secrets go here. I'll let you know off air. But
okay.
There's ways of getting to see these games. If you hang around long enough or if you go early enough and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that for me is the worst part of EGX. But everything else is great. I love the fact that they've got all the board games. That's a really big standout thing for me at EGX.
Yeah.
It's like I've never really got into board games as much as I have since going to EGX, which is ridiculous. You're going to a video game expo and playing board games.
Yeah.
Every year, me and Jamie and Andy, I think we do it last year?
We've done.
We'll always go and play a
few board games, which are
yeah.
It's weird. It's like you normally say to me about them. It's a nice way to sort of, you're on your feet a lot at these expos.
Yeah.
So you're walking around or you're standing queuing. Could be for like an hour at the big. It is worth saying, like you just said, at the big events on the weekends especially.
Take comfy shoes.
Because you're going to be waiting for the big games. That's why I said to you, I try and get the big games out of the way the first day, where there's not as many people, and then kind of relax into the weekend. That's the way. That's why I always try and do it. Yeah. But going back to what you were saying, if you need a break, that is a great area to go to, because you can sit down there, take a load off, and play some really, really fun games that you would never have heard of in a million years.
I mean, I've bought like 2 of the ones we played, and like literally straight away I'm like, I'll have that, and they're like 30 quid or 25 quid or whatever, and you're like, that doesn't matter, there's so much fun, and we've played them ever since,
But we've been round to yours to play them with
Colt Express.
Oh, that was great. I genuinely can't wait to do another night of that, because we had such a great time.
Yeah.
And again, me and my wife Sarah, we had no idea what was going to happen, and then it looks really overcomplicated, and then all of a sudden you're halfway through.
We can do advanced rules next time.
You're kidding me. Did you get the DLC?
No. There is DLC.
Oh dear. Right. Anyway, we're up. But yeah, there are good games there, not just video games. There are good board games.
I think the board game section is always a good bit of fun. We've had tons of fun there. So it's worth noting that for anyone going to EGX, if you're halfway through the day and you're knackered, just go and sit down and play a board game.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth it. And I love the fact that there's I don't know, 10 or so tables and 10 or so people working that area. So they'll always come and help you to understand a game.
Don't feel like I would have felt, which is kind of like, I don't know if I intimidated. I don't know if I'll understand all the rules stuff. There is always, if you just sit down, someone will come to you, and even if you already know, they will ask you, do you need a hand with this, or do you know what's going on here? Yeah,
and most of the time they come and join in with you as well. They'll come and sit there and actually sit there and go through the whole game, which I love. But I think EGX has got something for everyone in that respect. So you've got board games, you've got retro gaming section, you've got the indie games. There's tons of indie games, tons of them. And then also you've got the AAAs, you've got areas for PC gaming, areas for buying headphones.
Got like your over 18s areas as well.
So much merch, and the 18s area. There's just everything everything there. And if you, it is only the busyness of it that kind of gets it down a little bit and ends up getting a bit annoying. But at the end of the day, if you go for 3 days, you just have to pace yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's just time management with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you can only go for a day, then you are gonna. It's a bit like going to a theme park.
It is.
It's
just
the same
like
sort of thing. You've got if you're going to go for a day, you've got to think, what do I really want to get? What ride do I really want to get on? I'm going to have to queue for a bit longer.
Yeah, head straight to that ride as soon as you get in the park. Like that's the one you want to go on. Yeah.
Whereas if you're there for the weekend, then you can chill out a bit more. Yeah. It's exactly the same principle, just with Expos. So we talked about Res, EGX Play. There are other expos around the world, not just in the UK. Obviously, we haven't. Not to my knowledge, have you been to any outside of the UK?
No.
So just a few to throw out there. We've got another one in the UK is Insomnia that I haven't been to. There's the Tokyo Game Show in Japan.
TGS. We've been mixed up a few times with the Tokyo Game Show over at the Game Shed.
You got PAX, so Penny Arcade Expo, which is like PAX East, PAX West in the US.
But those are massive.
Yes, they're huge. I think
they've got tons of retro as well, haven't they, at PAX?
Yes, they've like just about 70,000 plus people going to them.
Yeah.
Paris Games Week in France. Yeah. Gamescom Germany. Is that in Cologne?
Cologne, definitely in Germany.
Definitely in Germany.
That one's huge. I mean, that one sort of paves the way for a lot of other stuff going on in the year. There's a lot of announcements happen at Gamescom.
Yeah.
But
obviously, for other announcements now, the public can go to E3.
E3's a huge one.
I mean, that's changing.
One I'd love to go to.
That's changing slightly now, though. That it seems like the big companies are. That E3 used to be about the big names in the industry going there to make announcements to members of it was an industry thing. It was about the press and it was about people within the industry. And in the last couple of years, they've opened up to the public more, so now the public can go. On that note, it seems that companies are pulling away a bit more. Like Nintendo have moved away to do their directs.
They must be getting sick of all the punters.
Well, PlayStation now said they're not going to be attending this year. They've now got PlayStation State of Play, which is basically PlayStation's version of the Nintendo Directs.
Right.
So they started their last one of that a couple of weeks ago. And that's how they're going to be doing it now. So Microsoft's still, to my knowledge, going to be there this year. And they will have, I'm sure they'll have representation in some manner, but they won't be doing the big stage shows and announcing stuff.
Can you imagine how much all of that costs? I mean, that's the other thing. If you can do things on your own time and your own dollar, like Nintendo Direct, like State of Play, where you're in control, you're not actually going to be paying anything. You're going to be making money from it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they'll put those out there and they'll be ad driven. Do you know what I mean?
So you get all that
like YouTube Live, and there's all the revenue from that. So they're, rather than going to a games expo and spending tons of money to have a stall and a spot on the stage and whatever, if they can do it themselves, that makes a lot of sense.
What was interesting was that this year was that the Game Awards, which is not an expo but an event, that kind of seems to take the announcements on board more. So I don't know whether they'll go from E3 and start doing it at the awards shows more. And then E3 will become another expo as such. But so E3 is another one. TwitchCon in Europe, in America, and now the first one that they've had it for TwitchCon Europe, which was in Berlin. Funny enough, this weekend, the weekend after Res. Right. So I would love to try and get to that.
Do they next year. See? I haven't looked into that at all. Is that all just a meet and greet, or is there games? And...
I haven't been, and I don't know too much.
Oh, okay.
Because basically I looked, couldn't go, and then I thought, I'm really gutted, so I don't want to look at what I'm missing out on. But I think there's a lot of meet and greet and stuff. But there's also loads of like live streams and competitions and that kind of stuff. It's something that is now on my radar, so next year I'll probably have more knowledge about it, because I'll find out more about it.
And you'll be a superstar by next year, right? In Twitch terms.
Crikey. If all four of our listeners go out and tell their friends about me, maybe, you never know.
It might happen. Could. Yeah, we could be doing this podcast live from...
You say that, but people were doing it live from Res.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They were live Res podcasts.
Blimey.
That's what you got to do, guys. Just get out there, tell your friends about us, and say you want us at events, and we'll do them.
Spread the word.
Very cheap. We are very, very cheap.
I'll tell you something you've touched on, kind of.
Yeah.
Which triggered something in my mind.
Yeah.
When you said awards, I completely forgotten about the golden joysticks.
Oh, the golden joysticks. Yeah.
Yeah, and the golden joysticks was something that me and Jamie went to a long time ago. It must have been about 6 or 7 years ago, maybe more. It was one of the very early ones that we did, and that was more like going to an expo then. It sounds bizarre, but it was industry. So we'd squeezed our way in as press, you know what I mean, and did our coverage. But it was the whole meet-up side of an expo. That's what it felt like at Golden Joysticks.
Yeah.
And so we'd go and meet up with people.
But more like an industry meet-up rather than,
but YouTubers and, streamers and whatever. It felt like that. And it was, back then, they had it spot on. Like, it was great fun for everyone involved. And it wasn't too over the top. Yeah. And so, the first one we went to, I think was when the PS4 was being released.
It's got to be about 5. That's got to be about 5.
It's quite a long time ago. Because I remember that they had FIFA and they had, what was that game you talked about in the last podcast? That mascot, the PlayStation mascot. They've just brought out a number 2 of it.
Oh, Knack.
Knack.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were showcasing that.
Oh, really?
In the press room. So there was like a press room, and we all went and sat down, and they gave us goodie bags, which had about 4 or 5 different games in the bag.
Yeah.
So we had like Knack and FIFA and all this stuff. They'd given us free. Everyone got these goodie bags that was around the table. We got to meet loads of people, tons of people that were all journalists or YouTubers or whatever. And then we'd go and watch the event. So it was like a meet-up and then go and watch the awards.
That was kind of like what E3 probably was like before they let the public into it, which is interesting because you've now done what I just did to you, you've now done to me, you've triggered off a memory in my head, was the fact that we spent all this time talking about Res and not talking about the BAFTAs. So Res came around originally when I first went to Res. Res was linked with BAFTA and BAFTA Gaming. So BAFTA Games is a branch of BAFTA, which maybe some people don't know about. Probably if you listen to this podcast you will know because you like gaming. But the award show that they do is once a year. It's a massive award show for the UK especially. And what you were able to do originally at Res was you could go in there, buy a ticket, and then sit in the audience for the awards. So the day, would be the Res event. You go around, and then you would go into the...
When that was in the evening?
In the evening, into the actual award show, and then stream it live and record it. Since then, over the last few years, it's changed. So now they've separated it. So now the BAFTAs is its own special event in its own venue. Sometimes I think it's normally on the Thursday night. I think it's still on the Thursday night. But it's now Res stands alone as its own thing, and BAFTA's awards shows their thing. But it's just interesting because again, that was you could buy a ticket and then all of a sudden you'd be in there. I mean, I remember the first time I went, me and Will accidentally slipped past the security or whatever and ended up in the black tie. We were the first people in non-black tie in the black tie event area. So we were waiting as everyone was coming in their black tie, getting champagne and stuff, and we were just sort of stood at the bar thinking, oh god, we should not be here. But we managed to stay there the whole time, and then we went into the awards show afterwards. But so it's just interesting to see how these events cross over with stuff like awards and announcements and stuff, and maybe it's better, they've realised it's better to separate them from the public. Because for us...
They did the opposite of that with Golden Joysticks. It never used to be public. And then they made it public. And it's changed a hell of a lot. The last one we went to was a couple of years ago. And it was just not enjoyable at all. It was just a madhouse. Absolute madhouse. Everyone trying to get some kind of footage, all these millions of YouTubers all trying to just get their little bit of whatever.
I think maybe
it was like, we couldn't be arsed with it.
Yeah, maybe that ties into why people like Nintendo PlayStation have moved away, because they just don't want to deal with the aggravation of too many people. There's too many people now within the industry as such, journalism in quotation marks, just to deal with, and it's just better to walk away and deal with the people that they know that they can deal with, and do it themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, worth noting.
So one thing that kind of comes into my mind that we've done quite a lot at the Expos, which I see a lot of people doing, is grabbing interviews with developers and grabbing interviews with games publishers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's something that's really, really cool about Expos, and I think it's completely available to anyone. So if you've got a camera and you've got a microphone, you can literally go and interview anyone.
Yeah.
And if you get on the right mailing list, you can speak to these people beforehand, organise time slots with them to go and do proper interviews. We've done loads over the years, and we've got loads on our YouTube channel and that. But it's a funny one because it's really interesting to do at the time, and it is quite fun. But it's quite a headache.
Yeah.
When you've scheduled in lots of time with these different
trying to run around and get to place to place.
Yeah, it becomes quite stressful, and you're like, oh my god, we've got one in 10 minutes. We've got to go and find this person and blah blah blah.
Kind of takes you out of the expo then as someone that's going there to enjoy it.
Yeah, we ended up not going as people going to enjoy playing games. We were there just to do these interviews and I think we only really did that properly one year, and we were like, that was hard work.
Yeah.
You've literally, if you're going to do that, it's worth going for 3 or 4 days, spending one whole day doing interviews and doing your footage and your coverage.
And then actually enjoying it as someone who is just going to enjoy the expo.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to have to, as much as a YouTuber, you want to go and cover the event, you want to go and make video of the event or whatever. You don't get to enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
You definitely don't. So it's worth separating. You could do one day meet and greet with friends and whatever, and then you could do one day filming and then one day just playing games. You know what I mean? Something like along those lines would work really well. But I remember we interviewed, you know that guy Motorsport Manager?
I remember you and Jamie.
Yeah.
I remember Jamie's talked about that.
Yeah. So we actually got taken into Sega's little back room. It was bizarre, totally bizarre. And we're sitting in this back room chatting to them about the game, and it was just really weird. It was like, oh, what are we doing here, sort of thing. And I think we have those moments every so often when we've been in these places. But it was fun. It was good fun, and I've always enjoyed that.
I remember being you'd probably be able to dig this video up somewhere off YouTube. But I remember that an expo that we went to, I can't remember for the life of me what it was called. But we drove there, and I did me and Tony did all your camera work.
That was Geek. That was
that
Margate. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It is.
I thought you'd been there.
Yeah.
I thought you'd.
And I remember I had the little camera. I remember when we were going back.
Tony
a long
had the full rig, didn't he?
Yeah, but I was only trusted with the little tiny GoPro on a stick. I remember constantly we were just running around getting loads of footage, and it was like a proper 4-man team trying to get all that together. Yeah. But good memories though.
Yeah, to do these things properly, to really get good footage and get good interviews and that, it's a hell of a lot of effort.
Yeah.
It really is, and people, I think it's underappreciated how much effort it does take.
I appreciate you, Mark. It's all right. Yeah.
Not me. No one cares about me. It's fine. But no, like Tony with that rig filming all those things and whatever. It was like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
trying to do a dance mat while you're recording, people don't know.
I forgot about that.
People don't know the levels.
That was the same event.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
So we've covered a few things there. Is there any, if you could go to one, so we've got our list sort of what we've spoken about, what's the main one that you'd like to go to?
And Gamescom, yeah. And I don't know what month of the year it is, but I think one of these years I will definitely go.
Yeah.
It's in a nice part of Germany. And also it's
don't get tickets to France.
I think it's more industry, that one. I think that's what you'll find about it. You'll find it's more, it's less open to the general public.
Yeah.
Which sounds really like snarky, but sometimes I think it'd be nice to go to an event like that out somewhere like Germany or whatever that is industry, and you can sneak your way in as press in some way, shape or form.
Yeah.
But that's one I definitely want to go to. A lot of good stuff happens there. What about you?
I mean, I'd like to go to. I'd love to be able to tick them off
Yeah.
and say I've done all of them
in
a lifetime, not in
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
year, in like my lifetime. But definitely the current one, the latest one on the radar, is definitely TwitchCon for Europe next year.
Yeah.
Especially with me sort of focusing on the Twitch stuff.
Yeah.
That it would be, for me, that would be a really good one to try to get to next year, if possible. You know,
We need to organise a holiday around it. That's what we need to do. If it's in Europe,
be amazing.
Yeah.
Weekend away.
Very simple.
Lad, boys on tour.
Yeah. No, but you could do an actual holiday, and the missus could go as well, and they could go off and enjoy Berlin. It's a good example. Do you know what I mean? And the
You're a
kids.
genius, Mark. We need to talk more about this.
I am a genius. Yeah.
He's a genius guy. He's a bloody genius.
Everyone would be happy. But E3 has always been the one that overshines, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The one I've always wanted to go to.
Well, that's the worldwide
known
one, isn't it? Wherever, no matter where you are.
It's a shame that, like you say, it's kind of losing its notoriety.
Isn't it? Not losing it, but it's losing its sort of. It's mainly known for it's the way the announcements come in it. That's the main thing. Where are we going to hear about? You'll hear about E3. Someone's going to do something crazy at E3. And I feel like maybe now that's not the case. I feel like it's maybe going to be. Oh, you might hear about this.
Maybe it was because it was so exclusive before. Maybe that was why everyone wanted to go. Do you know what I mean? If it wasn't open to the public previously, everyone's clambering to go to it, aren't they?
I mean, now how different. If you take away all those announcements and the shows actually how different is it to EGX?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
You know,
exactly the same, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I know what you're saying. If I think E3 5 years ago. Yeah, that would have been
pinnacle
to go to.
Like superstardom. That was like people making a name for themselves.
I was there, man. I was there.
It was like those Apple events back in the day where kind of Steve Jobs was on the stage, and those events were huge. Everyone loved them, and everyone wanted to go. And you know what I mean? It's a bit like that. It feels like. So yeah. Before we move on, I'd just like to say, if you've got any views at all on gaming expos, if you've been to any or whatever, tweet us on the TNM pod on Twitter.
Yeah.
And we'll get back to you. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we obviously we've only just started. We're only on episode 3 of the podcast, but we are really appreciating all the interaction, the feedback that we're getting through both communities and through the Twitter and stuff. So thank you for those that are taking the time to interact with us and get in touch. Should we just discuss people that got in touch?
Let's move on to that. Perfect segue.
So we've had a few people get in touch. We won't read out all of the thousands and thousands of people that get in touch.
So many, but we do read them all.
You are all read and heard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we asked people about their expo experiences before we started recording this episode. And we had a few responses. Ems said
1,000 responses.
1,000 responses, and here's a few of the responses that we can read out. Ems said it was a meeting. Highlight of her going to expos was meeting me at EGX last year.
What? How much did you pay her?
A lot. I'm now skipped.
Oh, bless. That's nice.
Mr. Lard Teammaker, Will, friend of the podcast, he said that one of the ones that stands out for him was when the first time he met Julia Hardy, who's, again, like we were saying, you can meet people from within the industry. Those you will know Julia from various different things that she's hosted and done over the years. But he got to meet Julia Hardy and talk about VR on the Oculus Rift when it was first a thing.
Yeah.
And she was her comment to him was how much it reminded her of being on a holodeck.
A holodeck? Oh my god.
Staying on it. We also had a lovely letter from...
An actual letter?
Did
he write this in?
He wrote it in on paper, look.
You can hear the paper.
So, worth noting that this person, Mr. David Smith, was with us at Resd.
Yeah.
And Dave's a friend of mine who I've known for many, many years. And he wanted to come along, basically, to see what the whole event was.
See what the hell it was all about.
What it was all about.
Yeah.
So he writes in, Mark, with this.
I am listening with bated breath.
Resd, 2019. A great event, full of diverse and inclusive people with a passion. I really enjoyed the different areas of the event, from tabletop, indie, left field, and more mainstream gaming. It gave the opportunity to experience everything while sharing the experience with the gaming community. Everyone was friendly and helpful, especially with a gaming novice like me. And who knew a bus was so hard to drive? A bit of a
in joke
there.
Wow, just
basically, our friend Sam, who came along, spent about probably the longest game that we played there was Bus Simulator, because we lost. He was on a bus for about an hour. At the end of a fun day, you could still have a couple of beers and catch up with friends. I'll definitely look to attend future events, hopefully next time as a VIP with Tom and Mark.
Oh, VIP.
VIP.
Wow.
Thank you, Dave. I mean, that's a really nice, heartfelt letter that you've written in there.
That is amazing. It's quite interesting. It sounds like it's written like something for school. It's like the way it's been written. It's like literally like an essay.
He is very highly educated, David. Very, very highly educated.
He was great fun, and so was Sam. They were
yeah, they really got involved.
Great guys.
They were out of their comfort zone at some of it, and I think, genuinely speaking to them afterwards, they're going to think about coming to EGX with us at the end of the year, because they genuinely did enjoy it and they had a good time. So it was lovely.
That is a perfect intro, what they've done with Resd.
Yeah, perfect way, because I think their minds will be a little bit more blown when they get to EGX, especially this year. Bring it back to London. I think they'll probably try and make a big.
Definitely in London, yeah.
It's definitely in London. Please don't buy a train ticket and end up in Birmingham this year. It's definitely in London.
I won't need a hotel, my God.
Yeah.
Wow, this is new.
Obviously Sam as well. Sam's written in, he was with us, the other
at Resd
friend of mine who was at us at Resd. He's written in and saying, my 30-second lowdown. Favourite game? Toss up between the swinging one with the blobs with hands.
Heave ho.
Or the Play-Doh Ultimate Fighters. I think that's Gang Beasts.
Gang Beasts. Play-Doh Ultimate Fighters. I love that.
Atmosphere. Really inclusive of us newbies. People offering tips when they could tell I hadn't got a clue. 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest disappointment. Bus Simulator. Didn't meet any of my expectations of being a bus driver. Thank you for writing in there, Sam. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on EGX.
That's
Hopefully
brilliant.
You'll come with us later in the year.
I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, so thank you to everyone who's written in. Again, you can catch us over on Twitter at the T&M Pod.
Yeah.
Which is where you can get in touch.
Yeah.
We should probably tell people what our next
we probably should,
going to be about.
As our end piece. Yeah, indeed.
Do you want to carry that? Because
after that essay you've just read. So for episode 4, we are going to be talking about microtransactions in the gaming industry. I think we're also going to sort of talk around that, talking about buying games in general,
it'd be much
the
broader.
Money aspect of gaming. But microtransactions in particular is a massive topic of conversation, and I think it's time we bloody covered it.
We'll bloody cover it. So
we'll
sort out those microtransactions.
Exactly. So our question to you, drop us on Twitter, a message on Twitter. What do you think of microtransactions in gaming? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Has it been done right? Has it been done wrong?
Are they here to stay?
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear from you.
That is exactly like you hear from us once a month.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you.
Yes.
So I think we're good to wrap it up there.
Sorry, one more thing before we go. If you've got any suggestions at all for us,
that's a good shout.
In terms of the podcast, then just get in touch. The TNM Pod on Twitter. We welcome all of you. So yeah. And share the word.
Spread the word.
Spread the word. Share the
word. Share the pod.
There you go.
Spread
the pod.
Sounds a bit seedy, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it does.
Just tell your friends. See you later. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.